وكل بدعة دلالة وكل دلالة في النار. Welcome back. This is Islamic Studies class, and we are actually on Hadith 6 in Imam Nawawi's 40 Hadith, and this Hadith is talking about the heart. So, whenever Allah talks about the soul of a human being, He doesn't usually talk about the brain, right? He talks about the heart. And you know that everything emanates in the body from the heart because the heart produces the blood, right? So you can think of something and you can even memorize something in your mind. But if it's not in your heart, it's not going to stay with you, right? And that's where we find the belief of the human being is in a person's heart. And the Sheikh, he said yesterday, of different types. There's a dead heart, and a dead heart, it doesn't have any, Muhammad, sit down, man, right? It's just flatline. And then you have a live heart, which does strengthen when it hears the words of Allah. It feels fear, and it feels the greatness of Allah when it hears the recitation of Allah. And then you have the sick heart. The sick heart is a heart that's not completely dead, but it's like on life support. So it has envy, arrogance, these diseases of the heart. Unless it gets rid of these diseases of the heart, then it could die, right? So the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith, he gives us a look into the heart of the human being. But it doesn't start off necessarily just talking about the heart, right? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين وبينهما أمور مشتبهات لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس فمن اتقى الشبهات فقد استبرأ لدينه وإرده ومن وقع في الشبهات وقع في الحرام كراء يرعى حول الحمى يوشك أن يرتع فيه ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى ألا وإن حماي الله محارمه ألا وإن في الجسد مضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت halal, right? If it is mustahab, it's halal. So if it's fard, it's halal. If it's mustahab, it's halal. If it is makruh, it's halal. And if it's mubah, it's halal, right? Then you have what's haram, which is what's unlawful. And it falls into the category of just things that Allah has forbidden. And so you have things that are major sins and minor sins. So the Prophet ﷺ, he's telling us in this hadith, Inna halala bayyun. Verily the halal is very, very clear. right? So when it comes to our religion, anything that Allah or His Messenger have prescribed for us religiously is lawful for us to do. And then anything that He hasn't religiously prescribed for us to do is unlawful for us to do religiously, right? And in the non-religious realm of things, it's the opposite. Anything that the Prophet, Allah or His Messenger has prohibited from us, those things are prohibited. And everything else, if you don't have a proof from Allah and His Messenger that it's not lawful, it's lawful, right? And so basically, the things that are clearly unlawful and clearly lawful, right? They are called al-ma'ruf wa munkar. Something is either known to be lawful, even in this term, when Allah says that He enjoins things that are unlawful, clearly haram, they're known, right? You get a bad feeling even if you do it. Even if nobody told you, you're gonna find a lot of things that are like a gray area in this religion. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ said that between the two, there are some things that most people, they don't know the ruling, right? They don't know. Is this thing lawful? Not. They're doubtful matters, right? Shubuhat. And then he gave an advice to the Muslims, because a lot of times Muslims will walk a fine line. They'll be like, I know that this don't seem right, but then somebody tells me it's my crew, so then if it's just my crew, then it's all good, right? That's how Muslims a lot of times they negotiate the world. My crew means not liked. So if something is my crew, it's not liked, right? But doing it isn't a sin. Believing it, you get a reward. That's what the definition of my crew. When people say something is my crew, that means that it's not sinful to do it, but if you don't do it, you get a reward for it, right? And so these my crew things, we should stay away from them out of good adab for Allah. If He says He doesn't like something, like if you was to go to your mom's house, and your mom was an older lady, and she said she didn't like people smoking in the house, and then you went into her bathroom and you lit up a cigarette and smoked, you know what I'm saying? And you know if she goes into the bathroom after you, she's gonna smell the smoke. You would be like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna wait till I go outside, because my mom, she don't like people to smoke in her house, right? So then you wouldn't do it out of love and respect and good for your mom, right? But then if somebody tells you, well, this thing right here is my crew, Allah, He doesn't like it. But then you say, well, it's not haram, so I'll do it anyway, right? Then that's bad adab. So a slave for his master, he should have adab. So if your master is Allah, and you know He doesn't like a thing, then you should stay away from it, right? And then on top of that, this hadith says that which is lawful is clear, and that which is unlawful is clear. And between the two of them are doubtful matters, about which not many people know. Thus, he who avoids doubtful matters clears himself in regard to his religion and his honor, his ird, right? Ird is like reputation. So your deen and your reputation, if you stay away from the shubuhat, the things that are doubtful, nobody can question your deen, nobody can question your reputation, right? But he who follows into doubtful matters falls into that which is unlawful. Meaning, if you always do doubtful matters because there's not a clear ruling, say, well, there's a difference of opinion amongst the scholars, so you just do it. There's a difference of opinion amongst the scholars, which just gives me a little space so that I can do it, right? People who do that, they gonna fall into things that are haram because they walking up that they skating too close to the edge, right? And then it says, like a shepherd who pastures around a sanctuary, all but grazing therein. Truly, every king has a sanctuary, and truly Allah's sanctuary is his prohibitions. So if you live in lands that have kings, they have what they call preserves, right? And even in England, they'll have like a certain time of year where they'll say the preserve is open for fox hunting for everybody, right? And everybody come and just a certain time of year, you know what I'm saying? And then even in America, we're not a monarchy. We don't have a king here, but we have a federal government. And the has federal parks where you can't hunt in the federal parks. It's prohibited. You know, anything that lives in that park, you can't go hunt there, right? So every king, every government, every ruler, every leader, even states have state parks. They have their own certain places that they say is off limits. And verily, Allah, who's the King of Kings, he has his preserve. He has his sanctuary. And that's his prohibited acts, right? So if you knew that Yosemite is a national park, and you know that the border's a little bit fuzzy where the park starts and where it stops, you know if you 5 miles out from the park, you know you're good. But the closer you get to that line. Sheriff like a marshal or a park ranger, and he says you getting a ticket for hunting in the park because you shouldn't have came close. And so the Prophet ﷺ, he's saying the same thing when it comes to unlawful things that are unlawful, haram. We shouldn't even get close. When it starts to get fuzzy, the border starts to get fuzzy, we just stay away from it, right? So we know the haram things. We know, the foods, certain foods we eat are haram. Certain intoxicants that we might take, we know they're haram. So then we know having a relationship with somebody we're not married to, we know that that's haram, right? So for us, if we know these things are haram, then we shouldn't get close to those things. Anything that leads us to that, we should stay away from, right? And if we stay away from it, our deen, right, as far as people won't be able to